Come on, system. I believe we are live, my dears.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
How's everybody doing today?
I know over here it was sunny this morning, and now isn't that the story of like the Pacific Northwest? It's sunny in the morning, and you're like, "Oh, great, I'm gonna get out there," and then it turns cloudy, and it's like, "Okay, fine, whatever."
That sounds like in the UK as well.
Yeah, we have similar weather. I've heard too. So you take the sun when you can get it. It's going to be more prevalent now that it's summer. It's going to be summer here in a few weeks. So I'm excited.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. It'll be warm up. Yeah, because you just had a big birthday in your house. So yes. I'm sure you want some nice weather.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was nice yesterday. So that was good. My son turned 11, and I asked him what his big dream was. And I'm not even joking. He said, "Can I join the GAPS coach training in October?" And I said, "Well, I think you're still a little young, but I said, I'm really glad it's on your radar and we can practice at home." And that's not a shameless plug. That's just what he wants, for his 11th year around the sun, awesome. Or 12th year around the sun, actually. So that made me a proud mom.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, the GAPS team is here today. Caroline is our tech. She's behind the scenes, making everything move. And she might join us just chatting if anything comes up. And then I'm Shauna. I'm in marketing. It's nice to meet everyone. And then Jennifer is with us. She is our extraordinary student experience coordinator. She's the person that walks everyone through the trainings and does such an amazing job at it. And we have Sunny with us. She's a GAPS practitioner. And we have Monica with us, who's a GAPS coach. We are so excited to chat today about GAPS training and what our graduates do with their certifications. And then Jen and I have a really exciting inside look into a portion of the GAPS training portal today. So Jen, I'll let you take it away because I think you're going to start with Sunny, right?
Yes, I am. Well, first I want to say hello and welcome. We are so excited you can join us, whether you're here right now live with us or you're watching a recording. Thank you for taking time out of your day to learn a little bit more about GAPS training. So I have the honor of kind of introducing you and interviewing Sunny. She is a GAPS certified GAPS practitioner. She is a GAPS guide, which is just when you graduate and have an established practice, you can come back and kind of mentor the students going through the training. So she's done that a couple of times. So I've gotten to know Sunny a little bit better than most students, and I've got the honor of working with her. So I'm pleased to introduce you to her. Hello, Sunny.
Hello, Jennifer. Hello, everybody. I'm thrilled to be here today.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're so glad you can make it and be with us. And we just wanted you to talk a little bit about your experience going through the training as a student. A lot of prospective students, for especially the GAPS practitioner course, wanting to know what it's like to go through the course. Can you fit it into your schedule? Do you have a lot of support? What did you find really beneficial about going through the GAPS practitioner training?
Well, I was drawn as soon as I found out that there were GAPS practitioners. I found GAPS on my own wellness journey and found it insurmountable in reversing my own chronic health conditions. And I came to GAPS training as a holistic a nutritional therapy practitioner, but with a holistic nutritional online practice with background with early learning. And first of all, I just want to say that when I came to GAPS training, I found the platform very user-friendly. I was a little intimidated taking an online class with the tech, but found that the platform is very user-friendly with the forums and the modules. Of course, Jennifer, you as the student experience coordinator, I just found you informative and supportive and caring. I felt like you really cared if I succeeded with the training. It is 12 weeks, so it's an intensive course. But with the knowledgeable practitioners as instructors, I found that their instruction, their availability on the forum, and of course, the live Q&As with Dr. Natasha and the instructors, those were definite highlights. The world needs this information now more than ever, and I'm just so happy to be when I found the GAPS training, certified GAPS practitioner course with the like-minded people. That in itself was a very supportive experience with the forums and the discussion groups. Golly, so I found that the CGP course, as it's known, comprehensive instruction. The things that I looked forward to was learning about the supplements, the dose and frequency, proper cooking techniques, clinical application of GAPS, gaining practitioner perspective, clinical protocols. There's published research repository to be found, as well as consultation exercises. But my very favorite was case study analysis. And of course, as I mentioned, the Dr. Natasha video lectures and the live Q&As. I found myself getting deeper knowledge of GAPS that I found elevated my own healing with my wellness journey, and made me. When I graduated the course, I found that I was ready to provide GAPS guidance to my clients. I felt confident, and there's also a business program along with the CGP training that I felt supported in that way. And of course, those connections you do make within the CGP training with the other learners, they become collaborative colleagues, making lasting connections in relationships. So, upon graduating the CGP program, I became a GAPS guide. Is this a good time to tell you about that, Jennifer?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Well, the GAPS community to me is welcoming and supportive, and I just felt like I wanted to give back to that. So being a GAPS guide not only afforded that for me, but also I find it useful with my own practice, because GAPS training is always improving upon their courses with up-to-date information and curriculum. So by being a GAPS guide, I get in on that, as well as making connections and being inspired by these future, CGP learners. And I am so inspired with, the doctors, pharmacists, nurse practitioners, psychologists that want to bring GAPS to the world. My job as a GAPS guide, I do weekly check-ins with learners, and there I offer another level of support and connection. We just have some great discussions, with any of their questions, or just sometimes we're just supporting each other in a learning and growing environment. I also provide optional webinars with topics that range from reducing the toxic load to GAPS best practices. I feel like my experience as a GAPS guide has given me confidence as well as a GAPS practitioner. So the better I learn GAPS and practice GAPS, the better I become. I have to share that one of the cohorts of GAPS trainings, there was an MD that shared, he said, I now see each of my patients with the GAPS lens. Every one of my patients is a GAPS patient. And I think that that is truly, what we all see going through, but it's just fun to see these aha moments with these students and learners. And, going forward, spreading GAPS. Can I tell you about my practice?
And Holly talks about that too.
What's that?
I was jumping in because I was thinking that Amy Mahali talks about that too.
Mm-hmm.
How, every patient, every client, she sees them through this GAPS lens. And it's not like every single person goes on GAPS fully, but there is something about GAPS that she introduces to them.
Who is Amy Mahali?
Oh, Amy Mahali is she's a certified GAPS practitioner. She's a family nurse practitioner, and she is one of our GAPS instructors. So she
was on her last live.
Yeah, she was on her last live, and she shares best practices using the GAPS protocol in a clinical setting on the Q&A webinars, and she also answers forum questions about the GAPS protocol. So she's really a wealth of knowledge. Plus, her area of interest is more the emotional component as well. So it's kind of branches off there, and so she brings that into the training, because that we all know that there's certain emotions that and just ways of thinking and trauma that if you don't address, it can inhibit healing in your body. So she brings that aspect as well. So yeah, we're really excited to have her in the training as a GAPS instructor. Yeah.
Amy is so generous with her expertise. I have found the way that she words things, she has that down-to-earth wisdom, like Dr. Natasha, that she shares so willingly. And things like becoming a GAPS detective, she puts things in terms where I, find it so much easier to explain and guide my own clients with the process. Anytime she speaks, I just want to get a pen and paper and write it all down. I love spending time with Amy. Am I able to talk about my own practice?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, because as you're talking about your practice a little bit, one of the questions that comes up a lot for prospective CGPs is they already have usually a practice that's going. It's like, how do I know? How am I going to integrate GAPS? Should I know what I'm passionate about ahead of time? How am I going to bring it into my practice? So that's actually a great transition to talk about. When you graduated, did you already know how you wanted to integrate GAPS into your practice, or did it kind of come as you moved through graduation and then slowly portion pieces of GAPS into your already moving practice?
That's such a great question. Thank you. I came with the holistic nutrition background, as well as using GAPS for my own healing journey. So I really was excited to graduate with the GAPS training course, practitioner course of, using GAPS guidance as my main focus. And so, there's lots of practitioners that, know about GAPS and pass it along to their patients or clients. And, that's wonderful to for them to get that much needed information. But for me, with the one-to-one counseling and, it's just with each client that I serve, their testimonies, whether it's, people that I see once or people that I see regularly, it's their success is my success. And it really is, working with GAPS, working the diet, food is the focus. It's amazing how, digestive symptoms and, other symptoms, the parents of children that like within 3 months time are seeing so many differences. It's just such rewarding work.
Yes, Absolutely. And we get, testimonies all the time from people that have implemented the GAPS protocol with the same kind of resounding like celebration of my child, a totally different child now. I feel like this is my child, and there is no wall. There's no, he's not lost or she's not lost in their body anymore. So yeah, it makes
Absolutely.
it.
You say that your son just turned 11. One of my little guys that I work with, who's 11, just 3 months of working GAPS, and he is feeding himself. He's engaging in conversation. He's looking up things, learning about other languages and cultures. But the most important thing to his mom, he's waking up and initiating of his own accord a good morning kiss. And I mean, that's 3 months. It just makes me excited to dig in with anybody that wants to learn.
Absolutely. Yeah. Those little successes, like just make it all worthwhile, the training and, implementing GAPS into your practice, and just seeing all of those, those kids come back to life and have a future and have hope, and, not be, kind of tied to their diagnosis. That's something very special, and it never gets old.
But I love how, GAPS practitioners, they come in all shapes and sizes and get to use GAPS. GAPS is limitless, as creative as you want to be. I have been working with a GAPS coach, actually. We are forming the GAPS Graduate Collective. It's a mastermind and mentorship for coaches and practitioners. And we're very excited about this project that we hope will be beginning later this year. It'll be available on the GAPS Grad Portal, which, again, we haven't talked about the GAPS Grad Portal. Is this a good time to do that, or were you going to?
Yeah, absolutely. We've shared the GAPS Grad Portal a couple of times during our lives, but from a graduate perspective, how do you find the portal and its resources?
Well, I personally love that, the GAPS training lectures are available. So, upon graduation, all that information is still available and accessible to me. There's monthly webinars that, I just was taking one from years back on homopathy, but we just had, I loved yours, Monica, with the no plant gaps. It's exciting that everybody can share this knowledge together and we can all learn and grow together.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's about I have to look now, I think 3 years of like CGP webinars that you can use as continuing education. And they range from all different kinds of topics too. So there's constant learning. And then we hold one every month. So we'll just continue to add to that repository. So yeah, there's so much to learn. There's some great ones on there. I know Mary Ruddick did a couple of webinars, and then Dr. Becky did some as well. So Amy Mahaly presents Q&As with Dr. Natasha. She also does webinars for our graduates. So yeah, lots of good learning opportunities to further your education.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Sunny, I wanted to just jump back for 1 second, because I was thinking how one of the other big questions that Jen gets, I get, is from prospective students for the CGP course, but also for CGPs that have graduated. There are these really difficult cases that come up, and they want these scientific, groundbreaking answers for patients that are just have very, very difficult situations. So I am so thrilled that you are starting this group, because it's going to help that specific demographic of people. And that's one of our biggest frequently asked questions is, how do we help these really difficult families, difficult cases? So you're bringing something to the scene that is so needed and so necessary, and our community is going to be so thankful for it. So I just wanted to give you a little round of applause for that, because it's going to be just amazing, really.
And the
I-
great thing is, if you don't mind me interrupting,
No,
it's for-
interrupt.
it's
I kind of
it's
told
for
everybody that you might jump in as from the tech side.
it's for coaches and practitioners to bring their cases. So that's why we have a coach and a practitioner leading this mastermind collective, because in the
That's a great
graduate
point.
portals, because it's we want both our coaches and practitioners to be able to bring those challenging cases and get some support.
Mhm.
And they'll be on a monthly basis, right, Sunny?
Yes, we're planning it each month, and I'm just very excited. The Camilla Titone is the coach that I'll be working with, and she's an amazing asset to the GAPS community. I'm excited to, not everybody has the time to become a GAPS guide and to become, confident with, everything that they've learned in GAPS training to go forth into their own practice. So we're hoping that this collective becomes kind of a bridge between the GAPS professional training and within their own practice.
Absolutely.
And Camilla
Is-
is
is
Dr.
Camilla
Natasha's
gonna-
farm right now.
That's
She
right.
is?
Yes.
She arrives today. They'll be there,
Oh
I think,
my
for a week or
goodness.
two. Yeah. So
Oh, that's really exciting.
Dr. Natasha's farm is in the United Kingdom, and I'll place a link in the moderation, the comments, and where you can volunteer to go and work on Dr. Natasha's farm. I'll do that in a moment.
Monica, you have visited the farm, haven't you?
Yeah, I spent the whole week with Dr. Natasha, so that was a very, very exciting time.
Oh, that's so exciting. Monica, are you somewhat close to Dr. Natasha's farm? I forget exactly where you are.
So currently I am in East Sussex. I actually moved to the countryside. Previously I was in London, which I was kind of closer to Dr. Natasha, maybe less than 2 hours. So now 2.5 hours maybe.
Okay. Very
Oh,
cool.
very exciting.
Yeah.
And
That's,
then I wanted to just I know Sunny, I'm sure you have to go soon, so I just wanted to also say that as a graduate, I know that you sent in. I'm gonna put the link into Facebook and Instagram into the comment section when this recording goes up later. But I know that you also took the time and energy to do a recording of your My Gap story. And so there's a lot of opportunity for graduates, just like Monica does that as well, where we put together emails or a My Gap story that showcases something that's going on within your practice and why someone came to GAPS, why they joined a course, what they're doing with their certification. So I really appreciate that you put that recording together, because it's so impactful for people to see how far someone can come with their wellness and within the GAPS journey as well.
mm-hmm. Absolutely. If you wanted to share, Sunny, your where people can find you too, because I know your social media, I just truly enjoy all of the posts you do, the little videos around your farm, just the knowledge that you share on your social media. So if you wanted to share where people can find you if they wanted to look you up.
Of course. I love talking with anyone and everyone, just like Monica. Maybe it's the GAPS gateway. I too have moved to the country, and we're enjoying getting connected to food in a whole new way. So I do enjoy sharing the gifts of our little homestead with everyone. You can find me, gaps24.com is my website. On Facebook, GAPS practitioner Sunny Hogan, or just GAPS24 is my page. I know I have an Instagram. I think it's GAPS Nutrition 24. But if you get to gaps.com, you will for sure find all the ways to find me online. So I love making new friends. So thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, absolutely. And your Instagram handle, I looked it up real quick. GAPS Nutrition 24 is the Instagram handle. And yes, thank you so much for joining us. And I just really enjoyed getting to know you even better. And I know we're neighbors, and haven't quite made the in-person connection yet. We will, because I want to visit your farm.
Are you too close?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, she lives 15 minutes down the road?
Probably so, but we have this online world, don't we?
We do, yeah. So, but
Wow.
it's been great having you in class and watching you just mentor the students. And I've watched you grow even as a practitioner with your skill set, with your knowledge base. And it's just been such a pleasure to have you as kind of my right hand in the practitioner training course. And it just keeps getting better and better. And I feel like we're adding more value and connection to the students and with the students. So I am so grateful that you're with us and that we share that time together. So thank you.
It is such a privilege. I love every bit of being with the GAPS community. Thank you. Am I able to hang on with you guys, or?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Sunny, if you want to hang on, because I know Monica is going to chat with us next, so please feel free. I just wanted you to know that if you have to run and you're seeing a patient, that we didn't want to, pull you in too long.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Awesome. Hi, Monica. I know that you've been hanging out in the wings, and we so appreciate that you're on today. How's your day been going so far?
Oh, it's been very, very busy. So I'm in the UK. It's pretty much very soon is going to be my bedtime. But my days are quite busy, packed with consultations, packed with designing training. So each day is kind of full on. And then I switch off Saturday, Sunday, no social media, no mobile phone, hiking, gardening, and just healing and restoring my batteries.
Oh, that's so important, right? You got to have a little bit of time just to unwind, get out of the tech, get out of this little screen. But
absolutely.
But yeah, that's wonderful. It's really important that people hear this message and then go off into the garden after, right? get their feet into the dirt a little bit. So while we're here though, I'd love to hear, how did you come, because you have a really interesting story. Not only did you come to GAPS and take a course, but it's so great for our prospective CGPs and CGCs to get a feel for someone that had a passion for creating their own courses, because you have 2 DIY courses on the GAPS training page. So I'd love to hear how you came to GAPS, why you decided to take the course, and then how you turned your passion into these DIY courses that people can do for themselves and become more proficient at the GAPS lifestyle. Absolutely.
Well, let me just tell you a very brief high-level overview of how I came to GAPS. So I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. I've actually suffered with Crohn's disease for my whole life. And obviously I was searching for answers my whole life. When you speak with other people or patients or clients, they all say but I've tried it all. And I was one of those people. I've tried it all. I've tried all of the diets available there. I've tried different protocols. And obviously I've tried Western medicine. I think I was one of those guinea pigs who were offered steroids, immunosuppressants, biologics, you name it. They were testing on me, and I was searching for answers because at some point my Crohn's disease got to a very, very severe stage. It was a life-threatening stage where my gastrologist said, well, we need to cut you open or you're going to be pretty much dead. And also you need to take biologics for the rest of your life. I also had a very very high level of heavy metal toxicity because I was growing up in a coal mining town where I ate heavy metals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was in the air, it was in the soil, it was in the water. I also was growing up in a moldy house. And when I was 6 years old, I was exposed to the explosion of the nuclear plant in Chernobyl in Ukraine. Originally, I'm from Poland, and my mom told me the story that on the night when there was the most active kind of a rainfall of nuclear particles which settled on our land, Me, my best friend, my parents, we had a bonfire outside, and me and my friends half naked, rolling in the soil, rolling in the grass.
Wow.
But the next day, when my mom heard the news that, hey, last night it was the most radioactive night in our area, I hope nobody left the house. Obviously, my mom took us straight away, and we got on iodine protocol just to get some of that radioactivity down. But obviously, that destroy my whole hormonal system, my thyroid and everything else. So pretty much when I started GAPS, I had over 250 different symptoms, and nothing worked. Yes, immunosuppressants and steroids were masking the symptoms. So I was getting a temporarily, remission for a few days, sometimes few weeks, but I was always back in a hospital. At the point where my gastrologist said, we need to cut you open because you're going to pretty much die in the next few weeks, maybe in 3 months, because what happened was there was so much inflammation and so much internal scarring that my ileum was getting smaller, and it could burst anytime. So I didn't know what to do, because they said, well, we need to cut you open. And I am a researcher. I love data. So I started crunching data, and I figure out that 80% of people who go through that operation, within the first year, they have to repeat it. So I am here thinking, okay, if I do this operation, I will be recovering for 5 to 6 months. It's going to be painful. I'm going to be probably bedridden. And after 5 to 6 months, maybe I will recover somehow. But then there are 80% chances that within the next few months, I will be back in the same operating room. So I said, there must be another way. So I was kind of, praying to the universe, to whatever is out there. I said, like, what should I do? And I kid you not, I'm sitting on my sofa, my bookcase is to my left, and this yellow book is staring at me. It flipped. And I actually got goosebumps telling you this story because it was such a strong sign. And I've picked up the book because I've read the book a few months before, and I thought, like, no, this is too difficult. This is absolutely really confusing. I had such a brain fog. I couldn't comprehend what I need to do with that information. I also looked at the list of the foods, and I thought, well, I cannot tolerate 90% of those foods. So how can I do this protocol if I cannot tolerate so many foods? But after that sign, I said, okay, I'm going to give it a go, and I will only focus on food which I can tolerate, meaning the foods which do not send me to hospital. And within 3 months, my flare-up stopped, bleeding stopped, stabbing pain stopped. I was still in horrible situation, but my intuition and my whole body was saying, you are on the right track. And I think the biggest improvement I had when I followed no planned gaps saved my life. So move forward to obviously to a few years later. Now I've recovered from over 250 symptoms, and I run a very, very successful practice as a GAPS coach, as a nutritional therapist. And just because of my background, I do attract people with similar stories. So I do attract people with very complex cases, with lots of heavy metals, with you name it severe. They knock on my doors because they knocked on so many doors like I did many years ago. And I am probably the last door before they go to hell. And I open the door and I say, hey, welcome. This is the new word here. So I became very busy very quickly after I graduated. And it was unbelievable that I didn't even realize that that could happen, but it did happen. And very quickly I realized that there is a common theme, common fears, lots of misinformation out there, people needing information in a very presented in a very simple, easy way to follow. videos with step-by-step instructions, references, troubleshooting explanations, and a little bit of science, just to tell them what you're doing is actually trusted method, proven method, and it's actually going to bring you results. So the first training which I've designed was around enemas, because I remember when I knew that I have to do enema, but I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified, and I didn't know how to do it. And then when I started doing them, it was a horrible experience. I had massive reactions. I destroyed my adrenals, and I didn't do it right. So after so many months of learning, well, I actually put more than a year, 10,000 hours of just studying enemas. I've designed a session which Dr. Natasha checked. It is available on the GAPS training website. And it was spot on, because so many of my members, so many of my clients have hours of that content, which covers not only coffee enemas, but herbal enemas. It helps them to troubleshoot things. So if they were to have separate consultations on those issues, they would probably need to spend, 10, 12 consultations with me. And now they have those materials and they've got lifetime access to it. So then obviously, I kept developing other training sessions. And recently I rolled out No Plant Gaps, which, thanks to Dr. Natasha, who was very, very generous with her time. She also is part of this training. One of the modules is just designed with and recorded with Dr. Natasha. It's an exclusive session. And it's going so well. I'm getting so much positive feedback from people who completed that training. And my heart grows when people send me messages. I do also have my membership with 14 other courses, which are not specifically GAPS, but they are compatible with the protocol. So that's oh, and the second part of the question you've mentioned, how did I combine that passion to design those training sessions? I was quite fortunate enough to be working in a training. I'm coming from a training background. I used to design training sessions in a more corporate world. I studied at psychology, how people learn. So it was very easy for me to design a training session, knowing how people learn and how I need to present information in that very digestible way, in a very simple way. So it's not confusing, so it's not overwhelming. And because I absolutely love GAPS, I love healing. I love seeing people improving when they start protocol. But I've got such a limited time. I can only see 3 to 4 people every day. And there are thousands of people needing our help. And I think creating online training helps more people heal. So that's where I am with my with the reasons why I started designing all these online trainings.
That's excellent. I love hearing that, because so many people that are trying to change their lives for the better wonder what the steps are going to be. How am I really going to get from point A to point B and make it work? And it's so nice to sit down with the two of with you and Sunny, because you're both taking something that you're good at and passionate about, and then you're sharing it with your communities. And that's truly the purpose of GAPS, right? Is to reach people all around the world and not help one person at a time. I mean, some people only want to see one person at a time, but a lot of people want to help a lot of people at a time. And you're both able to do that by working with, in your case, Monica, working with DIYs, and Sunny, in your case, now you're going to have this, I don't want to say it's a protocol. It's not the right word, right? It's more of a group.
Collective, yeah.
A collective.
Yes,
yeah.
a mentorship, yes.
Yeah, so that's just incredible. And Jen, I'm sure you want to jump in a sec, but I just wanted to ask really quick, if since you're both on, if you could give one piece of advice for someone that is starting out and they don't know exactly how they want to bring GAPS to the world, what would be that piece of advice? Like, would it, for example, would it be something like, take a course and learn something about business, or jump into, maybe like learning AI, or what, like, is there something that you've come to know in your own journey that you can transfer on to someone that's a little bit more in the green, that they don't know exactly what they want?
Yeah, people that have gone through the training or are thinking about going through the training.
Yeah.
So actually, either way, what I tell students when they're going through the training is just to kind of join the kind of the social media groups of GAPS. So Chef Monica has a Facebook page that has GAPS newbies, GAPS veterans, and GAPS professionals. There's a lot of GAPS social media pages that you can kind of go and visit and see what the commonly asked questions are, see where the troubleshooting needs to happen, the sticking points, and then you kind of get a feel of how it looks to be a practitioner or a coach with that kind of knowledge. So that would be kind of my first go-to. Definitely social media, and our digital world is only growing. So having those skills, learning about AI and how to use it effectively, because now people, they are their own, like, videographer, they're content creator. So it's kind of in-house. So learning all of those skill sets, getting to learn like Canva and design, especially if you're going to work online, just having those under your belt are great. And then just going out there and practicing how you would present GAPS with people, doing, collaborating with local practitioners, whether you're going to be a practitioner or a coach, getting to know your local, kind of natural health practitioners, and seeing what the need is in the community. If you're going to work in, especially in person, letting them know what you're going to school to do, and seeing if they will be a good fit for recommending to you, and having that kind of collaborative relationship within the community. And then hosting events, everybody gathers around food. So, especially GAPS food, because it's so specific. If you hosted events about, this is what GAPS food looks like, so we can kind of demystify that as well. People think that GAPS is just soup sometimes, and it's way more than soup. I know Chef Monica, especially during the training, one of the things I love that she says is GAPS food is French cooking without the bread. You have your cream, your butter, your pastured meats, your cheeses, your organically grown vegetables. So it's just wonderful universe of food that you get to explore in a different way than you might have. So just getting out there and making yourself known in the community, hosting events, collaborating with practitioners in your area, doing continuing education for learning how to navigate the digital world effectively, and then getting to know the GAPS community by just talking to people that are kind of doing it by themselves or have been in practice, people that have been doing it, and having some trouble navigating the diet. What are their sticking points? So yeah,
that's such great advice. No, that's wonderful advice. I thought it was good for it to come from someone who gets to see the students go from a student to a graduate. And then from my perspective, once you're a graduate, a great way to learn what you want to do with GAPS is to look at people just like here, like Sunny, like Monica, go on to the GAPS training Instagram and Facebook pages and look at the My GAPS stories. Learn from the experiences of people that have walked through their GAPS journey and have figured out what their passions are. And that way you can get ideas of how, as we say, the sky is the limit. Mm-hmm. So That's really excellent advice, Jennifer. And then Monica, as we're kind of finishing up your part of things, where can people find you? Can you tell them a little bit about how they can find your DIYs and anything else you want to share?
Yeah, my website is monicaholland.com. I also run a Facebook group, which is How To Gaps, How To as a number, and then Gaps. My DIY courses, 2 courses are on the GAPS training website, but they can people can access those courses via my website as well. They can also access my membership, which currently I offer 14 different courses there. And if anyone wants to connect with me, please send me a message via Facebook or send me an email to hello@monicaholland.com. And I'm working on my Instagram. It will be up soon, I promise. I've been trying to do it for the past 6 months, and it's still kind of on my to-do list, and I just keep moving it further. But I promise I will have Instagram hopefully soon. And now I've committed to it in front of many people listening to us. Now I have to do it.
I'm going to clip this part and put it into your email.
No, why did I do
No,
that?
I'm just kidding. That way you're really committed. No,
you can count. You can actually, hold me accountable, because I know I need to do it. Lots of people request and ask for Instagram, and I'm just I'm dreading it a little bit, but I know I have to do it.
It's the steps. It's nice for people to see the progression over time. It's like, on Sunny's side, you graduated and then you came back to help, and then you realize that people need this collective, so you're putting it together with another GAPS coach. And Monica, on your side, when you graduated, you realized that you want to help loads of people at one time. How do you have the time to do that? So you create one course, and then you create another course. So it's really nice for people to see that it's not as if sometimes you can get in your mind, right? Where you're like, oh, I have to graduate, and then everything is going to happen all at once, and I have to be everything for everyone right at that moment. But it takes years to figure out what you really love and how you're going to put it together.
I agree. And I think when I graduated, I had a very different strategy than my strategy is now. I think every year it's changing, and it's changing because I listen to my clients, I listen to my members, and I just deliver what they want, and not what I think is the right thing to do. So I think for anyone who is thinking about becoming GAPS coach or GAPS practitioner, go for it. Do not be too rigid about your plans for the next year to 5. Just go for it. Dive deeply into learning. There's a lot of learning. Never stop learning, because that's the nature of our profession, that I don't think I will ever stop learning. I'm constantly educating myself and doing qualifications and other courses. But things will happen, and you will start attracting the right audience, the right clients, because we energetically attract similar cases to what we've been through, and it's a wonderful profession to have. So I consider all the courses I've done in the past years relating wellness, health, nutrition. I'm studying to become HCM practitioner now, to help people more with the heavy metals. But up to this day, the most valuable learning I got from Dr. Natasha. So I urge everyone who's listening to us today, just don't hesitate, just sign up. It will change your life, not only your health, but your life. And you will be making impact on everyone you're going to meet, and you're going to touch hearts, and you're going to transform their lives, and you're going to have the best career you've ever had. I promise you that. Just put your heart into it.
It's so beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I know for me too, when going through the program and having the just even the nutritional background that I do, it's just, yeah, it was a total game changer. It's by far my favorite, so my favorite course. And I get to, talk with the students and watch them grow. And we have a whole wide range of people that come through our training, different backgrounds, professional, personal backgrounds with the GAPS diet. So it's really a beautiful thing to see everybody just kind of go through the training and blossom and go out into the world and make that huge impact that you were talking about. So thank you.
Thank you, ladies. We so appreciate you both taking the time to be on. It's wonderful for our audience to get to know our graduates.
Absolutely. Yeah.
My pleasure to join you today.
Thank you, Sunny.
Yeah, so Jen and I are going to do a quick, we're going to move into a quick internal sneak peek, and we're going to show everyone a portion of the GAPS training portal. So ladies, if you want, you're welcome to hang out for the entirety, or if you want to hop off now, Jen and I are just going to do a little bit of sneak peeks for the audience to show them what the training portal looks like, a specific section of it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bye, Monica. Okay.
Okay, Jen, back to you and me.
Yes.
That was great.
I really loved, so Monica specifically, I really loved her story because she took something that was kind of not so necessarily a weak point, but she had apprehensions about enemas, and she just was like, I got to figure this out, for my own thing, because she knew that was so important. And she took something that she didn't excel at in the beginning. She didn't enjoy in the beginning. She didn't have a great experience with in the beginning. And she took it and she learned and she was like mastered it. And then she created a course around it. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't in her career path when she graduated the coach training. So it's a testament to being open to, you might join the program. And I know, Shauna, you and I have talked about this, where you might join either the practitioner or the coach training thinking you're going to practice one way, you're going to build your practice that way and start planning on it. And then once you graduate, you're like, well, actually, I really like to work with the food, and I really want to have, a meal prepping business, or I really want to have a YouTube channel that has tutorials on how to prepare GAPS foods. And you'll just completely do, a 180 on your business plan. So it's really, it's so neat to see how people utilize their certifications in all different ways, and sometimes in ways they weren't expecting to when they first entered the training. So
that's my favorite part of her story too. And I love that she didn't love it, and that she wasn't good at it. And it's also, she has a great way of making it really funny, because nobody really wants to sit there and chat about enemas, but she has a, it's kind of not a taboo topic, but people get a little bit strange about talking about it. And I love that she makes it, fun and light, and it's not so serious. And she turned something that she wasn't good at into something that she was super passionate about. So it's exactly like you said. And I know you and I personally have talked about this so many times, how people go through the program and then they say, oh, I didn't realize I was interested in this particular thing, or that this thing I'm not good at, I want to become good at, and I want to help other people become better at. So that was really cool. That was really cool to see. And I love also that Sunny and Camilla, which Camilla was on, I don't know was it the last live?
I think
it was. Yeah, so people can go watch her, and I've clipped that into our Instagram as well. But I love that she and Camilla have come together to realize that there's a hole somewhere and that they fill it, because that's another cool part of GAPS is, there's something for everyone. And there are always going to be holes where someone's thinking, oh, that's interesting. The community isn't getting enough of this particular information. I'm really good at that. I can come in and make that better for them.
Yes.
That was really cool too, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love, Camilla actually is a GAPS guide as well for the CGC, the coach.
Yeah, that's great.
So she is mentoring our students in the coach course currently, and I think she plans on coming back. I would love to have her back, just as I love to have Sunny back as well. I mean, we have some really great GAPS guides in our classes, and it's just, I think it just added so much value to the training, because now you have an extra hour each week with the GAPS guides to ask questions about their experience with the training, ask questions about the GAPS protocol, and about clinical application. So even in the coaches, it's like, well, if you have somebody, that has, this issue, how would you approach it? And so you get to hear what they have done in real time, during their practice. So I think that is hugely beneficial. Plus, when they do webinars, the GAPS guides, they bring their own experience and their own education to it. So we have Amanda was a GAPS practitioner guide this time around as well with Sunny, and she is a somatic therapist. So she brought that element in her webinar to the group, just addressing those issues. So trauma and how to work around it. So I think that it's different every time, and it's exciting to learn everybody's background, and everybody just adds so much value to the program, and they also participate in the Q&As. So yeah,
it's so cool. And then just to kind of end this thought, I really do like what you said about that you have the GAPS guides that are practitioners and coaches, because you get different perspectives and also different knowledge bases. You're getting people that are seeing different types of clients. So that's kind of cool for the students to get those different approaches. And also that Sunny and Camilla, Sunny being a practitioner and Camilla being a coach, that they're doing this collective together for more difficult cases, because a coach is going to act for that difficult case in a completely different way than the practitioner is going to act. Even though GAPS is GAPS, the way that things are delivered and the way that coaches and practitioners act in real life and what they're with their clients and patients, it's of course different, right? Because the coach has more of that like hands-on food perspective, and then the practitioner, of course, has a completely different perspective, but they can come together and be synergistic as well. So
absolutely,
that's really nice.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited for our audience to see a little bit of this sneak peek. I know, Jen, you have the screen prepared to share, right?
Absolutely. So let me go ahead and share my screen.
It's so fun. It's so fun to see what the students are going to get to experience.
Yes, definitely. So this is a little bit different than Zoom. So
No, take your time.
Okay. Do you see the PowerPoint?
Let's see. I see that. Yep, there we go.
Okay. So, and if I change screens, do you see that? So you see the training portal currently?
No.
Okay. So you.
I see the
first file.
It's a little small for me. I see the first screen that you put up.
Okay. Perfect. So in the GAPS training portal, training portal, in the practitioner page and in the CGC page this first time around, or in the portal, we have GAPS lessons, GAPS group lessons. So this is kind of done for you lessons that you can present to a big group of clients or patients on teaching all of the elements of the GAPS protocol. So this is a great way of educating a whole group of clients all at once. And that way you can have a big event. You can, host the GAPS groups and just facilitate collaboration among a community, among your clients or patients. So they have that support network. They get to know one another. They get to share, their journeys with each other and be an extra layer of support. So what these lessons look like, they're broken up. And if this loads, yes. Oh, I'm not a robot. Yeah. Well, I'm glad we verified that. For example, so we have, each one has a PowerPoint slide that you will present. And then down here, we also have included little notes on each slide. So just kind of presenter notes for you to use during your presentation. So these are really good, like I said, for educating a whole group all at once. They are complete and ready to go for you. There is also, and I'll stop sharing here. Okay, let's see if I can share. You have to, with the OneStream, you have to jump from All right. We also have a GAPS practitioner manual in the course, and we have a whole section on how to run a local GAPS groups. So how to kind of get one started, what one looks like, how often to run them. So this comes with you during your training as well. And then there's the GAPS workbook. Yeah. So they're, like I said, they're ready for you to go as soon as you graduate. You can start with these GAPS groups and the lessons and hosting them, and kind of either using them as a way to find clients, or you can use them with your clients. So yeah, and I think that's been a really big benefit to our graduates because it's already ready to go, and you just you can also work with a GAPS coach to help you with the presenting of the GAPS groups as well. So maybe the coach would help present the information. You can make a whole bunch of sauerkraut or a bunch of the fermented or cultured foods, so they can be a tasting afterwards. And it can just be a fun event that you host in your practice.
So Jen, let's say, for example, a graduate wanted to use that PowerPoint presentation for a group. Would the graduate have the PowerPoint going while the group was there, or is it more of a guide to teach them how to run the group?
So they would have, the PowerPoint would be for the group as you present it. You would present the slideshow, and you can.
So that's really helpful because it's kind of like a plug and play.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can do that virtually, or you can do it in person, and then just hold, like, depending on how you see clients, if you held monthly memberships, you could. That would be one of the resources that you offer is like a monthly GAPS group where you come and you can ask questions. They present that GAPS lesson, and then you can ask questions, open it up for Q&A, open it up for kind of sharing and collaborating with each other. Because I hear over and over again too, especially when people are doing the GAPS protocol, having that community of people to lean on to just share with and celebrate your wins and troubleshoot your obstacles is so important to the success of your journey. So that's a really good benefit to have once you have these GAPS groups.
That was a really good point that you made, that you could run those PowerPoints for an online group, because a lot of people want to work with communities that are a little bit far to be in person, and they're out of reach necessarily. They're not close enough that they could really sit down and have a group meeting. So it's kind of cool, because if you think about it, you could have a Zoom meeting with 10, it could be a small group, like 5, 10 people, or you could have a really big meeting. You could probably have 30, 40, 50 people plus from your community, maybe from, your local fitness center or from your local farmers market. You could have a large group of people that are all interested in in wellness and have that PowerPoint running. So you don't have to really be so in the tech world or figure out how do I get the PowerPoint going? What exactly do I put on the slides? They're already there. You would just need to have a group ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I know anybody that has kind of designed PowerPoint slides or even in Canva and stuff, it takes a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that already done for you so you can hit the ground running with your practice and get out there and get your name out there and let people know what you do. And I think that's a
really
really
cool.
great thing. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
It's fun to do a little sneak peek.
Definitely. Yeah. When you were signing up for a course, you're like, I don't know. And, how are things structured? How are things, if you ever have any questions, always feel free to email me, gaps@gapstraining.com. I'm the one that will answer. And if you have any questions about, course structure, course expectations, what assignments look like, things like that. I know one of the biggest questions is, how many live events will we have during the training? And what happens if you can't make a live event because you live in the UK or, all around the world. So we do have students that are global and we have live events, and we'll tell you ahead of time to see if you can make it. But we always record live events and so you can watch it at your convenience. And then if you have any questions while you're in the training, feel free to you can email the instructors or message the instructors in the forum, or you can message me. So we're always there to support you. So even if you can't make the live trainings, you're still going to be a part of those live events and get your questions answered.
Oh, thanks, Jen. Yeah. So for anyone that, I think this is actually a perfect way to kind of get toward the end of our call today. For anyone that is interested, of course, you can always reach out to Jen. She's just such a wealth of knowledge. And, I know Jen doesn't want to toot her own horn here, but she really walks side by side with each student. So much passion and love for GAPS. So we greatly appreciate you. And if anyone wants to know a little bit more about our upcoming courses, is open registration right now for both Certified GAPS Coach course and for Certified GAPS Practitioner course. So you can email Jen. You could go to gapstraining.com to look at the trainings and look at the qualifications. And then Caroline, our amazing behind the scenes tech, is going to have a live webinar on the 19th, I believe Wednesday the 19th. Yep. And she's going to talk about our certified courses and also a little touch on our DIYs as well. So that is an amazing info webinar. She does such a great job explaining everything. People get so much information. So you can sign up for free. You can save your seat. Just go to gapstraining.com and register for our live info webinar. And if you're on right here on Instagram, or if you're watching on Facebook, you can just on Instagram, go to our bio, and the link to sign up for the info webinar is there as well. And I think that's a really good next step.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's especially the info webinar. I know I always get feedback in the inbox saying that it was just kind of a deciding factor sometimes. And if they were thinking about the training, I know Caroline shares a lot about our training and the qualifications and just kind of who we are. So I would highly recommend to attend. We also have an on-demand webinar. If you go to our website, gapstraining.com, if you can't make the live information webinar, the on-demand webinar is there as well. So you can listen at your convenience. So yeah, thank you guys all so much for being here with us and for sharing your time. And I hope that this helps a little bit kind of explain who we are, what we do, our passions for, making sure that you have, a solid foundation for your GAPS knowledge and using the GAPS protocol. And we would love to see you in a future training.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And Jen, thank you again for the sneak peek. And Caroline, thank you for being tech for us. It's so amazing to have somebody behind the scenes running everything is a well-oiled machine.
Happy to do it. Great live today, ladies. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. Have a beautiful day. Everyone, get your feet onto the soil.
Yes. I'm
Grounded today.
feet in the soil.
Bye, everyone. Take care.